Before I jump into this video, nothing I say is financial advice. Come check out our terms and conditions page. Agree to it. Also join our Discord. It's free right here on our homepage. Let's jump into it. One of our traders, our members here at ZTRADEZ, says this: Hey Bullwinkle, I was wondering if you could do a learning video on the technical and psychological importance of trend lines. Excuse me, I personally feel fine. Feel like I'm doing fine in that realm. Could certainly do better. You know, we got SPY up over here on a daily. I'm going to show an example of Meta as well, and I drew a colored chart. It looks like a kindergartner did it, but y'all are going to have to bear with me because I whipped it up in about 10 minutes here. Swallow water the wrong way. So excuse me. Look at the trend. Look at the trend. We have a channel. I like channels the most because it gives me more direction on where I'm going, right? Generally, you want it to kiss 3 times. 1, 2, 3. And when it starts to pull off, that would show that it's respecting it right there. I could have been in a 473. You know, we're at 490 in no time. I could have been trimming and taking my initial investment out. It drops. Well, it's house money, so, you know, judging off these candles right here giving me direction, I can assume that we're probably going to tap it, which we did, 503 from 473. Right, that's $30 move. They give you, I love channels. Trending, when it's trending in a direction, you know, you got something to go with. You know what not to do. You don't want to be playing puts. Even if it looks toppy, I'm going to wait for it to, depending on what the TA is, right? Sometimes I will take puts on something that's trending up, but in general, I don't. I don't trade against the trend. I'll wait for it to drop and then buy calls because overall it's in a bullish, it has bullish behavior, right? Looks like there was some divergence right there. I don't remember charting that, but anyways, look at it bouncing around in the channel right here, just like this example. And then we came down and kissed it again, 593, and the very next day it shot up to 507. 493 to freaking 508. That must have been FOMC or something. No, it wasn't. Maybe it was. I can't remember here. So you need to exit. You're going to wait. Wait till she hits the channel again. Drop right here, 509. 1, 2, 3. Only 4 days to 523. That's a pretty violent move. But again, well, I haven't said it to start. There will be a time when the channel is broken and the trend isn't your friend anymore and you're going to lose. This is where people give up on trading and they lose, is the transition from bull to bear markets. Although I had been talking about this and I released a YouTube video about almost 3 weeks ago about this bear cycle that we're going to encounter here. Based on the trend lines and that walkaway May was coming. So this is where you would have lost. How would I play this, right? Well, let's say I go in with $500. You know, a $30 move if you did hold it through there, which you probably wouldn't have. But if it pops from 470 within 3 days to 485, that's a $15 move on SPY. That's pretty good. That $1,000 I have is probably, and I'm not going to be playing weeklies when we're in a channel. I'm going to be playing like 3 months out, right? Maybe 2 months out. We're looking at, that's 100% easily. And that's not even the max over here. We're not going to do that because that's not really realistic. That's not really not how it's going to go. 1, 2, 3. I'd be kind of like, okay, this is a 1, 2, 3 reversal. I don't, because keep in mind, we can't see the rest of this. We don't know. We're just pretending that this is all we can see. We can't see anything past here. With these candles, we can kind of judge where the top of the channel would be if there's going to be one, right? I put 1,000 in, it's definitely worth 2. I can take out 1,500. I have my initial investment back. I have 500 back. What does it matter if I lose the other 500? So you tell your psychology that it's like, oh my God, I might lose on the calls, and it's like, well, we'll pump the brakes here. That was free money. Chill, relax, right? I hold it and I let it run. When you play channels like this in trends, that's where you really grow an account. But you're going to make aggressive gains. And now I'm talking about trading inside of a channel here, right? Which there's more direction. I'm going to show you meta, which there isn't as much direction on a weekly. A different example. But when you're trading trends, you're going to make a lot of money, and at some point you're going to lose all of it, right? Unless you just get lucky and you know that it's going to break the channel, right? I suppose you could have bought here at 518. Maybe you would have trimmed. I doubt it. You'd be waiting for the top of the channel, and then it punches right through it. It comes back up and tests it, right? You probably would have been out right here. You could have gotten out with this. You could have gotten out over here and been fine. The fact that it's below it doesn't look good. So you'll make aggressive gains playing channels and trends, but at some point, some of it's going to be lost, but you have to tell yourself, well, I've collected all this money on my way. Look at all the plays. Let's do it again. We want to see it kiss 3 times. 1, 2, 3. Right here. So now we have a confirmed trend line right here. Right? We don't have a solid uptrend, but we can kind of judge it with these candles down here. You made your money there. You made your money here. Within one day, 494. To the next day, 507. It's in the channel. We already have it charted right here, right? So that would have been valid right here. Reversal candle with a gap down. Right? 510. Within 1, 2, 3, 4 days, we're at 523. You did very well there. You waited. It dropped. Okay, we're going to enter right here. And this is where you would have gotten smoked. Waiting for the top of that channel that never came. And that's a loss, and that's okay. But if all the money you would have made with the 3 solid entries, 1, 2, and 3, right? And new traders will put their whole port on. Whoa, this strategy's working. I put 1,000 in and I turned it over. This time I'll put in 3,000. This time I'll put in 5,000. Full port in 10,000, and then they lose everything. Gotta do it the opposite way. Right? Well, don't do it the opposite way where you just go in heavy, right? Same amount of money, around the same delta, around the same expiration timeout, right? How far I'm going to go out when I'm playing a channel like this. Let's take a look at meta. Let's look at SPY on a weekly. That doesn't really help us here. Look at meta. Imagine trying to catch a top and holding puts. You got smoked. I don't want to play puts at all ever on this. Unless if there was a vertical candle again from here, like one that was just as big, like if this could have done that, I would have been probably in puts there. I would have done that. Like ARM that just went absolutely vertical. And this is where I'm going to bring my Windows Paint illustration in. This is short term, right? We only had 2 weeks of it going vertical. We have a big volume gap, and look at it fill it. Pretty much fill it, right? That's not a trend. So how long did it go up for? It went up for only 2 freaking weeks. Look at the angle. It's a complete 90-degree angle, right? Look how clean meta is. From the beginning of January 2023, just a little over a year, slowly grinding up, nice and healthy, not toxic like ARM did or SMCI. Slowly grinding up, nice and slow. And then there's a big blow off. Usually that's a blow off top. It's not going to go up much more when it goes vertical like that. That's what I personally call them. Am I going to buy puts? Not really, because they had a lot of good stuff going on. And they got good stuff going on right now with the TikTok ban and a whole bunch of other stuff with AI. If it drops, right, and we can come down to these EMAs or fill this volume gap, sure, now I'm going to be looking for calls, because then overall it's still going up, right? If we just look at it overall, what's the direction? It's up. Let's take a look at SMCI. Now that thing went vertical for a very long time. That rarely happens, where we just go in that degree of an angle. It's reminding me of Tilray back in the day. I wonder if we can even still see that. Yeah, where it just went vertical and it never recovered. Right? SMCI just went in a 90-degree angle here. So usually they don't do that. When they go that up aggressively, it ends like this. Let's take a look at this. Excuse my atrocious drawing here on Windows Paint. Okay. So I've color coded this. If I made it orange here on the bottom because if it's not trending up aggressively, it's kind of bullish, right? The bulls are slightly winning. Bulls are slightly winning. You know, bulls are winning a little bit more. The lighter green bulls are winning more. The right in this range right here, these greens is what I like to see, especially these two, right? Anything past, here's something really easy. Anything past the top right corner of your screen, like going this way, is a little bit too much, which is why I color coded these, right? This was basically arm, the movement it was going. It was worse than that. It was like the black line that I'm using for the edges of this illustration I'm using here. Just went vertically up. The higher you go, the more of a 90-degree angle you go, right, the less time it can do it. If it can go like right here, just nice and slow, and I'm not talking about pumping, just slowly grinding, it can just stay like that for years. Literally years. Which is what we're seeing here with Meta. And again, like I said, I like playing channels. And sometimes flags are dangerous because sometimes it takes them a long time to break. Look how long this trended up for. Started in November 2022. I wouldn't confirm that. Why? I wouldn't claim that it started just because it was a bottom. We come back over here. We had to wait till we got over the EMAs. Right? If I was in puts and we had a violent gap down on earnings from 124 to 88, I probably want to take profits on the puts. It's over. Like you're waiting for aggressive profit and violent gains. There they are. That's it. What else? What are you waiting for, right? If you're playing the trend, which was bearish, and there's a violent gap down like that, there may be a recovery, a bounce up there. But eventually playing trends, you would have lost here. Not to say that that's bad. I showed you guys how it can be profitable, and the losing is okay, right? It depends on how well you manage your risk. If you manage your risk, you're still profitable even if you lost 100% on that last trade. We crossed over the EMAs, and we're in an uptrend now. I'm seeing great places for entries going along. Here, right? Right over in here when we came down to retest. I can't zoom in too well. And playing far out. Violent moves like that on the call side, I'd be out completely and I'd be done with it if I got a move like that, especially on earnings $3.94. You know, $100, pretty much $100 move. That's I probably want to be out at that point. So, yeah. So that's what I wanted to cover here is look at the moves, how aggressive it is. If it's dropping very aggressive, that can interrupt the trend. If it's shooting up aggressive like this, that can interrupt the trend, which it kind of did. It's kind of flat now. It's not really doing too much when there's a massive move like that. You can notice when there's a big candle, it kind of interrupts things. Like over in here as well, it dropped for a little bit. 1, 2, 3 reversal. Look at that entry right there. Right off that EMA with a 1, 2, 3 down. Beautiful entry right there. For a continuation uptrend. But every time there's a gigantic candle, although those aren't too big, it kind of interrupts things. That really interrupted it. And in my opinion, that may be a blow off top. When things slowly grind up and there's a vertical candle, that's a blow off top or a blow off bottom, which I showed you guys with earnings on the gap down on the daily. I like playing channels the best because they give me entry and exit points. I never want to go against the trend. Even though that may be a blow-off, I don't want to buy puts either. Right? If you did, look at this, back in January, you've never made anything. You know, maybe if you skim the tops, I'd rather wait for this thing to drop and go long again, in my opinion, because overall that's where it's going. EMA's opened up and we're above them. If you guys like this content, make sure to like and follow for more.